Alex here with let's see, I guess I'll call this a legal nuts and bolts video. I am going to wander a little bit, but I am going to go straight into the topic, which is going to be bad laws. And it's actually an epiphany, one of those videos that just kind of struck me that I really want to share with my viewers. And you don't realize the way that your brain sort of tries to warp reality in the sense of understanding the legal system until years and years and years of going through this stuff. And then, of course, observing the courts and observing attorneys, judges, etc. One of, I guess, I could call my biases, like cognitive biases, I guess they call it, kind of my brain's leaning in a direction that is just not accurate with reality, is trying to convince yourself that if a law is bad or if an outcome is bad, that a judge is going to rule in a way that is, I guess you could say, cognizant, or that recognizes that that particular law is bad and that that particular outcome should not occur, stuff like that. This video isn't really focusing so much on that particular, I guess you could say, scenario, because my perception is that that typically is what will occur. What I am going to focus on is the appellate courts, the Supreme Court, Court of Appeals. They don't do that. If there is a bad law or bad court rule, and it allows something nonsensical to occur, they will allow it to occur. They, at least in Nevada, interpret and apply existing law for better or for worse. And it helps, I think, to really let this sink in, because if the judge in particular you're trying to challenge did make a decision and that decision is supported by bad law, it's still a law, even if it's bad, if it's going to cause issues that don't make any sense, if it's illogical, it doesn't matter to the appellate court. And that's just one of those things that is the limitation of the legal solution, of trying to solve your problem legally. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't have tried in the lower court. It just means that, unfortunately, you can't really do anything about it. And hopefully that helps people understand why really cleaning up, bad laws and making things more clear is, at least at the end of the road, about getting the appellate court to intervene and force the correct thing to occur. Sort of the conclusion that I came to when thinking about this was there are a lot of areas of law where bad things occur, but that the appellate courts can't do anything about them because the legislature enacted a statute that makes no sense or is harmful, or maybe a particular court has promulgated a rule that it's just makes no sense or is harmful, and there's just really nothing that you can do about it at the appellate level. And that hopefully helps people kind of just accept that when it comes to trying to solve a problem legally. It doesn't mean you can't try to solve a problem politically, but most of us aren't super powerful, super rich people and don't have access to legislators and all that stuff. So really, it at least, I think, will get people to understand why bad laws lead to bad outcomes in the appellate courts, and maybe save people money. Hopefully, in the general sense, people don't quit with the appellate approach. It worked several times in my case. If you want to watch my docket series, you can see multiple examples. But at least kind of take a sobering look at the specifics in their particular case, the specifics of that particular ruling, and the specific laws that might support that particular outcome, even if the laws are bad or don't make any sense or are contradictory, or all the stuff that I mentioned earlier. If you come to the conclusion, pay very close attention, that that judge's decision is supported by some kind of statute that's not good, it's still a statute. I'm not talking about unconstitutional stuff. That's different. I'm also not talking about questions of statutory construction, like if you're thinking the laws are confusing or are contradictory in the sense that you're trying to find out how to apply the rules of statutory construction. It's very different. You should watch that video. It's called statutory construction. In other states, they call it statutory interpretation. Sometimes they call it that here in Nevada too. And that is actually a valid legal principle that you can actually use to your favor. So not talking about that at all. It would be nice if laws were not ambiguous, but sometimes that happens, and the Supreme Court, at least in Nevada, has rules for how to deal with that situation. Rules that they do apply that do lead to reversals. So that is a good thing to take a look at. And then, of course, I mentioned the Constitution kind of passing. Yeah, if that's not what I'm talking about in this video. If there is a bad law, and it's not, bad in the sense of what were they thinking, but it's more in the sense of it's violating the Constitution. Okay, yeah, you can of course challenge that under the just ordinary ways that they challenge unconstitutional statutes. And I have a video on the Constitution. And yeah, guys, if you have any questions, comments, feel free to post them down in the comments below. And I will see you guys next time.